Okay, this is the biggie. This is the one that everybody's been waiting for. This is the one that I've been waiting for. This is legitimately probably the one movie I knew was, well, one of two movies that I knew were coming out in 2020 that actually has come out that I was really excited to see. It's Wonder Woman 1984. Patty Jenkins is back to direct. Gal Gadot is back as Wonder Woman. Chris Pine is back as Steve Trevor, and otherwise it's relatively more completely, well, some of the Paradise Island gang is the same in this film, but otherwise it's a new cast. And yeah, this is this very strange time we all live in right now, where normally this would be a major theatrical release, and it is in theaters, but it's also on the HBO Max streaming service for the first 30 days of release. So from December 25th, 2020, for 30 days, you can also see this on HBO Max. It'll always be in theaters at the same time. It's just we're in this weird spot right now of, is it safe to go to a theater? Is your theater allowed to be open where you are? Do you have a theater where you are? It's this weird, bold, new world experiment that we're in. I really was looking forward to seeing this in a theater. I wanted to see this at the Alamo Drafthouse in Yonkers. I wanted to see a themed menu and a cool pre-show and giant screen and amazing surround sound. But I watched it at home. Not the way I wanted to see this, but where I am currently living, there aren't really theaters that are open, and we didn't really feel like it was the right time to go do this. So streamed it on HBO Max over the weekend. Got a big TV and a good sound system, so, you know, it's never the same. I'm never going to ever be a person who says, I don't go to the theaters. I got a big TV. That's bogus. That's bogosity right there. Your TV isn't as big as a movie theater. And the movie theater experience, as long as you don't have tools and fools in your theater, it's far more immersive, you know, in the theater than at home. We tried to make it as much like a theater experience as we could last night. We put the phones away. We turned all the lights in the house off. But still, I really wished I had seen this on a giant screen. What's it about? It's about 2.5 hours. It's a superhero movie. It's a frivolous comic book movie. Of course it's 2.5 hours. Some people have had complaints about how long this movie was. It didn't really bother me. I kind of come to expect any kind of major motion picture, and also kind of strangely, any comic book movie to be rather long. But I didn't quite know what to make. So the film, it's Wonder Woman, as the title might tell you, and as the title might also indicate, it's set in 1984. I was a little bummed when I first heard the announcement that this film was going to be set in 1984, because the first Wonder Woman character was created in World War II, and you know, that comic book existed since the 40s, so she actually did exist through all these different eras. And I was really hoping that the first film being set in World War I believe, I was hoping we would take our time and see her through various time periods and see how she interacted with history, how she interacted with people around her, culture, all of that throughout. So I was a little disappointed when I saw that they were just jumping back to the cool decade and doing it in the 80s. And I lived through the 80s, had some good times, had some bad times in the 80s, but I'm not crazy nostalgic for it, for the look and the feel and all that. A lot of people are. That's cool. But having lived through the era, I'm a stickler for accuracy, so I always tense up when anything is set in the 80s, because I feel like it's just going to be like Halloween costume 80s, like really silly. And this film sort of starts off that way. It just throws you into the 80s. It's Walkmans and aerobics and shopping malls and bad color and high hair and all that stuff, and arcades. And at first I was like, oh God, this is going to be every hackneyed cliche about the 80s as it can go. And the film starts off very light in tone for the most part, very silly. And I was like, oh man, the last Wonder Woman movie, it had, funny and light moments, but overall it was played pretty straight, and I was a little nervous. As it went on, I started to get a sense that, okay, somebody is a fan of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. And then it clicked in for me. Okay, what this is Superman 2 and Superman 3. I mean, there's elements of all the Superman movies, the Christopher Reeve films in Wonder Woman 84, if you look for them. But the vibe was very Richard Lester directing a Superman movie. And once I went with that, I was like, okay, this is cool. This is fun. This movie is just, it's a lighter tone, and it's just more fun than the first one. Now, it's got serious moments, and it's got drama, and the Diana Prince character is played straight, which I love. Gal Gadot is great as Wonder Woman. And when the first Wonder Woman movie came out a few years ago, I was like, there's Linda Carter, and then there's anybody else trying to do this. And I was really impressed. I really liked the Wonder Woman character. Actually, it went back to when the Wonder Woman character showed up in Batman vs. Superman. which was a movie I saw at a matinee, and I thought, it's okay for a matinee. And then Wonder Woman showed up, and I was like, hello, I think I need a movie about this character, perhaps tomorrow. Uh, and when the feature came out, I was very happy with it. So here we have Wonder Woman in 1984. She's working for the Smithsonian. She's, a strong, independent woman, which she is. And this sort of infomercial tycoon sleazeball rich guy shows up, and he wants to sponsor the Smithsonian. He wants to make a large donation, but he's really looking to get his hands on this thing that can grant people any wish they want, because he wants to use it just to become even more powerful than he is and richer than he is and all that. And this object touches various people in the movie in a way that it fulfills some fantasies. I really don't want to get into the plot too much, because I think any movie is better if you really don't know what's coming. But let's just say the bad guy is a super mega Gordon Gekko kind of rich guy played by Pedro Pascal, who is the star of The Mandalorian. You get to see his face for this movie, through the whole movie. It's interesting to see him for more than 30 seconds at a time, like you do in The Mandalorian. And he's great as this character. You have Kristen Wiig as this sort of lower tier doctor archaeologist, so to speak, who works at the Smithsonian, and she's really frumpy and awkward and sort of tries to befriend Diana Prince, and that leads to interesting things. And then you have Chris Pine back as Steve Trevor. I'm not going to say how it happens, but it's in all the trailers, so hopefully that's not too big a surprise. And I just had a blast with this movie. I mean, it's a globe-trotting adventure. You don't see a tremendous amount of Wonder Woman in the movie, and that might be a problem for some people. She shows up, the way you first see Wonder Woman in this film is very much the way you first see Superman in Superman the movie. You don't really see her. You see her, swooping in and saving people and doing little things. You see body parts, but you don't see the whole thing. And then there's a big set piece in a mall that's really well done. It's just, I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking, what is this? I get to this age where ratings don't matter, and I think, what is this movie even rated? Like, there's like nothing offensive in this movie. There's a little blood here and there. There's no profanity. There's no unseemly situations. There's no real violence per se. I mean, there's scary ideas, but for the most part, it's pretty clean. Like, this is the kind of movie I would have zero problem taking a kid of almost any age to go see. As I was saying, Wonder Woman you don't get a lot of Wonder Woman in action, in costume in this film. The sequences you do, for the most part, are really well done. The fight choreography is outstanding. The action choreography and how they shoot and cut it is outstanding. You can actually see what's going on. There are wide shots in this film. But a lot of the movie is Diana Prince investigating things and trying to thwart the plot of this evil bad guy. And yeah, it's kind of ultimately sort of an end of the world situation. And I keep saying about, not horror movies, but about superhero movies, boy, I would like one where it's just somebody foiling a robbery or somebody trying to stop a runaway train in 90 minutes, 80 minutes of the X-Men trying to stop a mudslide or something like that. Because if repeatedly you get this stuff where it's the end of the world and these universe-sucking vortexes, to me, after a while, that gets tiresome. Effects in this movie were really well done for the most part. Toward the end of the movie, the big showdown between Wonder Woman and her nemesis, who is not the big evil rich guy, there's a lot of CGI involved with that, and it just really looked cheesy to me. It took me out of the movie, and it went from having fight scenes and choreography that were really expertly done to just being kind of a mess. And I'm like, what's going on, and who's flipping where, and what is this? I really didn't care for that, but otherwise I loved the action in this, and the movie's gorgeous to look at, and it feels to a degree like a Bond film. It's very globe-trotting. We go to various locations, predominantly set in Washington, D.C., but we go overseas a bit here and there. Some lovely moments. I really could say, if I wanted to be very pitnicky, that I could point to a lot of moments and say, well, this is like this point in Superman, and this is like this point in Superman 2. A friend of mine posted online the other day that he thinks the movie is basically a remake of the plot of Supergirl, which I don't remember well enough to say yes or no. But it's very It's much more out there than the first movie. The first movie was this woman from Paradise Island who's an Amazon warrior, has powers, and she's very strong, and she goes up against this guy who's trying to summon evil. So I guess there was supernatural stuff in that one too. This one seems like it's more fanciful. So I don't have a problem with the idea that people can do certain things in this movie, because you're talking about a rock that grants wishes. If you buy into a rock that grants wishes, yes, she can leap a tall building with a single bound, or a small building with 3 bounds. I did have a little bit of an issue with the opening of the film. We see like this basically ninja warrior competition that's going on Paradise Island when Diana Prince was a young girl. And it's excitingly done, but at the same time, there's so much CGI and green screen and wire work that it kept taking me out of it. And I kept thinking, maybe scale this to not be so grandiose and have actual people who do Ninja Warrior stuff do this stuff, and it'll just be more impressed that somebody can climb a rope hand over hand and not look like they're being pulled up by a wire. Otherwise, it's an expensive, big budget Hollywood movie, and it shows. It looks fantastic. And the cast, uniformly fantastic. I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I love what the character stands for in these movies. Again, I'm a Christopher Reeve Superman guy. I like a superhero who smiles. I like a superhero who's nice and who's, doing something positive. And I feel like since the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, we kind of lost that. We kind of lost the superheroes that are just positive and nice and good people and standing for good things. Deadpool was upbeat, but those had a real strong, cynical, nasty side. And the Wonder Woman movies don't have that. They're just about really good themes, really good messages that, you wish more people could be like that, and you hope people will watch these movies and be inspired like that, like I was by Superman as a kid. The kind of person you want to be like. And it's not about putting anybody else down, it's about lifting everybody up, which I really enjoy. So Wonder Woman 84, I'm not going to go on and on about this, you've probably seen it already, but some people really don't like it. I've heard people say it's the worst movie of 2020. I really don't get that at all. I thoroughly love this. I really hope, they've already announced Wonder Woman 3, excellent. I really hope they take the opportunity to go back in time, so to speak. Give me a 40s set noir film, like a film noir with Wonder Woman in that. They really have the opportunity to delve into all kinds of different genres. You can change your costume in every movie and give it a different look. You can shoot every movie and score it like it was set in the era that it's taking place, or like it was shot in the era that it's taking place. Wonder Woman 84 has a lot of the synth music and vibes of the 80s, the bright colors and all that. I wouldn't say that it looks like a film that was made in the 80s, but it sure as hell feels like a film. Again, Superman 2 and 3, maybe Supergirl that was shot in the 80s. I really wish they would go back. Give us a World War II Wonder Woman movie. Give us a 50s Cold War Wonder Woman movie. Give us a 60s Wonder Woman movie. Give us a 70s Wonder Woman movie. I think it would be fantastic. I don't know what the deal is with the next one, if they're going to keep going forward and set it in the 90s or in the modern day. Who knows? I just hope that everybody on board with these films enjoys doing them, keeps delivering us a fun movie every so many years. Don't rush it. Like how we said with the Bond films, take 2 years, take 5 years. Just don't remake You Only Live Twice again. I hope everybody stays on board so that we can watch this character grow, and that kids now get what I got, which is one actor playing this iconic character through a series of movies that you have and hold from this day forward, on and on and on. So at any rate, in theaters, which is really how I would recommend seeing this, or on HBO Max until the end of January 2021, Wonder Woman 1984.